We all know the 90s classics, but the decade left behind so many fantastic films that were completely overlooked. These are the true hidden gems of the 1990s, the movies everyone slept on. Some films make people uncomfortable the second they start. 1997's Lawn Dogs is one of them. A fiercely smart 10-year-old girl lives in a wealthy, suffocating gated community. Perfect lawns, strict rules, adults who mistake control for safety. She meets the lawnmower guy, a young Sam Rockwell, and forms a secret friendship with him. He treats her like she matters. The adults see him as beneath them. She sees someone free. Rockwell walks a tightrope between charm and danger. The film feels like a twisted fairy tale, innocence mixed with unease. A story about class, control, loneliness, and the walls adults build around privilege and fear. It made people uneasy, and that is the point. It forces you to face what polite society avoids. A haunting coming-of-age story in suburbia's shadows. A film about friendship, judgment, and the razor-thin line between protection and possession. One of the most overlooked gems of the 90s. This Irish gem is pure charm, the 1998 film Waking Ned. It is set in a tiny Irish village, population 52. When one of them, Ned Devine, wins the massive national lottery, the shock of it promptly kills him. So his two best friends decide on the only logical course of action. They have to convince the entire town to help them impersonate him to claim the winnings. Ian Bannon and David Kelly are just magnificent as the two elderly schemers, Jackie and Michael. Their chemistry is the heart of the film, a perfect blend of blind panic and genuine mischievous affection. It quietly came and went in theaters, completely overshadowed by bigger late 90s releases and never getting the push it deserved. It is a total throwback to those classic Ealing comedies, that very specific, charming story where a small, eccentric community bands together to pull one over on the system. And you cannot talk about this movie without mentioning David Kelly's naked motorcycle ride. It is not a cheap gag, it is a moment of pure, unforgettable comedic joy. An absolutely delightful, witty film about the real value of friendship. This is the best modern Sherlock Holmes story that never mentions Sherlock Holmes. The film I'm talking about is 1998's Zero Effect. Bill Pullman plays Daryl Zero. He is, by his own admission, the world's greatest private investigator. He is also a paranoid, emotionally detached recluse who observes the world from a locked bunker. He takes on a case that forces him to actually interact with people, and the entire process threatens to unravel him. Pullman is just brilliant. He portrays a genius who is completely crippled by his own mind. Ben Stiller is perfectly cast as his exhausted, long-suffering Watson, the man who has to actually exist in the real world for him. The screenplay by a young Jake Kasdan is endlessly clever, but the studio had no idea what to do with this. They saw Stiller and sold it as a wacky buddy comedy, which it absolutely is not. It is a smart, sad, and intricate character study. Audiences, expecting a broad farce, were baffled. That total marketing failure is why it remains the quintessential cult classic, a smart, funny, and profound detective story. They don't make them like this anymore. You really feel that with 1995's The Last of the Dogmen. Tom Berenger is perfectly cast as this grizzled modern-day bounty hunter. He's a man more at home in the past than the present. He's hired to track 3 escaped convicts deep into the Montana wilderness, but the trail leads him somewhere impossible. He finds a secret hidden for over 100 years, a lost tribe of Cheyenne warriors still living completely isolated from the modern world. This is a majestic, old-fashioned adventure. It feels like it was made in another era, with a scope and sincerity that had vanished. It has this genuine, earned respect for the Native American culture, which was rare. The on-location cinematography is absolutely stunning. But it's a slow burn. It takes its time to build its world. It was just completely out of step with the cynical, fast-paced action films of the mid-90s. Audiences just did not know what to do with it. A sweeping, romantic, modern Western that was just born in the wrong decade. This is, without question, the most painfully accurate film ever made about making a film. The anxiety, the ego, the sheer chaos. 1995's Living in Oblivion just gets it. It follows an independent director who's desperate. He is just trying to get one shot, just one simple scene, but he is battling a narcissistic lead actor, a perpetually malfunctioning smoke machine, an insecure actress, and his own anxieties over one disastrous dreamlike day.
Hi. Toto, is it?
Tito.
It is a total nightmare. Steve Buscemi is perfect as the tortured director on the verge of a total breakdown. The film is brilliantly structured in 3 parts, shifting from black and white to color, which just adds to the surreal, anxious energy. And you have to watch for James LeGros doing a legendary and savage parody of a young, pretentious Brad Pitt. The film is also the debut of Peter Dinklage. He shows up for one scene and just steals the whole thing. An unforgettable, fiery arrival. It's a movie that loves filmmaking while hating every second of the process. A painfully funny, surreal masterpiece, the ultimate love letter and suicide note to independent filmmaking. This one flies completely under the radar, and it should not. 1991's 29th Street. It's about a blue-collar guy from Queens, Frank Pesh, who is blessed with an absurd, almost supernatural amount of good luck his entire life. It opens with Frank as a finalist in the very first New York State lottery, a moment that sets off a storm inside his family. Anthony LaPaglia is incredibly charismatic as Frank, but Danny Aiello gives this powerful, explosive performance as the father, a man just consumed by jealousy and pride. Their relationship is the entire movie. What makes it all feel so grounded is that the film was written by the real Frank Pesh, who also appears in the movie. That is where all the authentic, gritty, loud New York texture comes from.
I'm hungry. You hungry?
Yeah, I'm hungry. You hungry?
Absolutely, I'm hungry. Yeah, me too. I'm really hungry. Get the fuck out of here.
It just feels real. It's a fantastic, big-hearted Italian-American family drama that just happens to be set at Christmas. It is, quite possibly, the best Christmas movie you have probably never seen. Trust nothing. That is the central rule you have to adopt when you are watching The Spanish Prisoner, David Mamet's 1997 thriller. The setup is simple. A brilliant but naive corporate inventor creates a secret process worth a fortune. He is then methodically, almost gently, drawn into an elaborate, disorienting conspiracy by a charming new acquaintance. It is a thriller built entirely from language, from misdirection, from paranoia. The plot is an intricate puzzle box where every conversation, every business card, every seemingly innocent gesture is either a potential clue or a trap. The film trains you to listen to every single word and trust absolutely no one. And Steve Martin, he is terrifyingly good here. It is a rare villainous role, and he uses his natural, disarming charisma as a weapon. It is just deeply unsettling. This is not a film of action, it's a film of intellect. A flawless, ice-cold masterwork of suspense. The smartest con game put on film. This script is perfect. I'm talking about 1997's Grosse Pointe Blank. The premise is just untouchable. A professional hitman, morally exhausted, is forced to attend his 10-year high school reunion. He has to juggle rekindling a romance with his old flame, avoiding a rival assassin, and dealing with the existential dread of suburban life. John Cusack was born to play this role, and his chemistry with Minnie Driver is electric. The entire film is a masterclass in tone. It blends black comedy, slick action, and genuine romance without ever missing a beat. And the soundtrack? That 80s new wave. It is not just background music. It's a full-blown character in its own right. It sets the entire mood for one of the most quotable movies of the decade. It just all comes together. The coolest, sharpest, and most effortlessly stylish black comedy of the decade. Let's talk about 1998's SLC Punk. The setup is pure anarchy in Salt Lake City. It's 1985, and two of the only punks in town, Steve-O and Heroin Bob, are raging against everything. Their parents, the suburbs, the soul-crushing inevitability of selling out. This is, without question, Matthew Lillard's defining performance. He is a hyper-caffeinated mix of rage, intelligence, and genuine pathos. He just leaves it all on the screen. The film perfectly captures that feeling of being young, passionate, and convinced you are the only one who sees the truth. It uses constant fourth wall breaks and a frantic, energetic editing style to pull you right into Steve-O's worldview. It's not just about the music, it's a surprisingly deep look at the hypocrisy of rebellion. It was marketed as just another goofy teen movie, which ensured it got buried in theaters. It's a loud, hilarious, and unexpectedly profound sermon on identity and the beautiful tragedy of being young. The Edge is easily one of the most underrated survival movies ever made, and what makes it work so well is how it inverts your expectations. A plane crashes in the Alaskan wilderness. On board, Anthony Hopkins as a reclusive billionaire, Alec Baldwin as a cocky photographer, and Harold Perrineau as Stephen, his assistant. The film quickly becomes a tense, psychological duel. Every movie tells you Hopkins will be the helpless rich guy. But the film, and the brilliant David Mamet script, flips that. Hopkins is the actual survivalist. He knows how to do things. He sees this as the test he's been waiting for. It's Baldwin who is all false bravado, concealing a deep cowardice. That dynamic is the core. A duel of wits written with quirky, unpredictable Mamet dialogue. It is set to an incredible sweeping score from Jerry Goldsmith, giving the wilderness majesty and menace. And then, the bear. They used a real trained Kodiak, Bart the bear. Not a digital creation.
Easy. No, easy.
But a formidable physical presence in the frame with the actors, making the threat palpable. It's not one thing. It's a survivalist action film, a morality play, and a psychological thriller. That's what makes it so fascinating. The most intelligent and brutal man versus wild film ever made. A masterpiece of tension and dialogue. Everyone remembers Braveheart as Mel Gibson's directorial statement. But 2 years earlier, in 1993, he made his actual debut with The Man Without a Face, a completely different kind of film. Based on Isabel Holland's 1972 novel, Gibson said the story found him.
Why did you pick this, though, for your directorial debut?
Well, it picked me in a way. It's hard to determine exactly why something like that occurs, but it's I just read the story and it jumped out. I thought I could tell it.
He stars as Justin McLeod, a reclusive former teacher living as an outcast, his face badly scarred and his past shrouded in scandal. A local boy, played by a phenomenal young Nick Stahl, seeks out this monster to be his tutor, desperate to escape his own troubled home. What's striking is how unlike Gibson's later work this is. It's not a violent epic, it's a quiet, claustrophobic character study. The tension comes not from violence, but from the town's suffocating prejudice. The reason it's overlooked is simple: Braveheart. That film was a global, Oscar-winning juggernaut that completely eclipsed this smaller, nuanced debut. Gibson's identity became defined by brutal spectacle, and this quiet film was instantly forgotten. It's a powerful, assured debut, and a true forgotten gem. This film was politically radioactive from the moment it was conceived. 1998's Jinnah is a completely unconventional biopic. It frames its story in the afterlife, where the founder of Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, is put on a celestial trial. He is forced to justify his life and the controversial partition of India. The most contentious part, however, was the casting. Jinnah is played by Christopher Lee. The decision caused massive controversy, but Lee himself called it the single greatest performance of his entire career.
Well, that's easy for me. It's a film you've never seen. Unfortunately. In 1997, I went to Pakistan. I spent 10 weeks in Pakistan with Indian actors, with British actors, with Pakistani actors, and I played a man called Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and he founded Pakistan, and I played him in this film. And I know it's the best thing I've ever done, by a long, long way. It's a very good movie. It's a very good movie, and everybody in it is very good, and it is truthful too, historically accurate.
He is magnificent. He captured the man's intellect and quiet pain. The film was hit with protests, funding crises, and legal challenges from day one. Its sympathetic portrayal of Jinnah was seen as a direct challenge to the Academy-approved narrative in Gandhi. It received a wide release in Pakistan, but was, quite simply, buried everywhere else. It remains a powerful, fascinating epic, powered by a legendary actor's defining work. There you have it. Some truly forgotten 90s gems. Tell me your most overlooked pick from the decade in the comments below. Subscribe to VintageVerse See you in the next one.